What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and we have a lot to discuss. We have a hell of a lot to discuss. Some of it is probably gonna get a little messy, but it is what it is. Let me set the tone for you with one comment that I had gotten while I'm in the courtroom. Y'all know, for me, everybody is everybody. I don't think legacy media is any better than new media. I don't think the normal lay people who are in the court, if you're a Diddy supporter, everybody's everybody. I want everybody's opinion. What I don't want is somebody to ever feel comfortable. Like, I'm sitting in the courtroom and somebody volunteers that if Cassie was a real woman, she would have stayed just like my mama did. That was a literal comment that somebody just flippantly threw at me sitting next to me in the courtroom. Don't feel comfortable telling me that kind of stuff. That is going to set the tone for the conversation we are about to have about the stuff that went on in this courtroom. Like the video as the intro plays, we got a lot to discuss.
Make it make sense.
I was listening to Make It Make Sense. Shout out to Make It Make Sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
Make it make sense. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be okay.
Big MIMS. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Do polygamy with me. I don't even like that.
What's polygamy?
He wants 2 other women plus me.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I don't.
That is funny.
People want to do polygamy with me, y'all. Where to even start? Let's start with the positives. I made it out of this. I've been away from home for 2 months with so much ridiculous stuff going on at home. You guys know, if you don't know, when things are out of whack with my family, things are out of whack with me. My sisters, all 3 of them, are extremely important to me. For the most part, you guys know that my middle sister was going through some things. Hospitalization, we're not knowing what's going on. That was in the back of my mind. The fact that a friend of mine, I guess around like 3.5 months ago now, I was at his housewarming. This was his first house that he bought. I'm so proud of dude. I've been knowing him since I feel like we grew up like 2005, 2006. This is a friend of mine. Probably, I don't want to put that out there, but you guys know, had 4 strokes in the head, bleeding on the brain, and I got this phone call while I was on lunch break while at court. Go back home, check on things on my family, and then like one of my very best friends died. So the fact that I made it through this trial, the fact that there was days that I didn't want to get out of bed and still did it is a blessing. The fact that you guys helped me through it is a blessing. The people that I got to meet, the connections that I made, hands down, there's never going to be another experience like this. But there was a few people, and if I don't mention it, doesn't mean anything. I just want to say specifically, as it pertains to a few people who reached out after they found out specifically what was going on with me at home and gave me encouragement, and either had me on their platform or offered to put me on their platform. Just want to point these out. Let's see. Ava. Shout out to Ava. Ava works at News Nation. She's an awesome anchor. This woman, she's so powerful with her words, but she's so soft-spoken, so nice. I mean, there's always an offer to go on News Nation whenever I'm ready. Shout out to her. I appreciate it. Let me see. I know I had it like pulled up. Saran. And follow these ladies. Follow them. If you see anything that Ava is doing on News Nation, definitely follow her. Like, dope. I got to start off with the good stuff before we get into the bullshit. Shout out to her. Tell her MIMS sent you. Saran, always offer to go on the Shade Room. She is an awesome journalist. When she found out what I was going through on a very personal level, she checked up on me. She even shared some things that she was going through with her family. Shout out to these people. It was so dope to get to know them. I just wasn't that I wasn't ready, you guys. Doing this, the type of work that we did for 2 months, it was draining, and I was going through a really, really dark time. So shout out to them. Like, just because you don't see me somewhere doesn't mean that I did not make that connection and you won't. It just means that I was not at a space where I could give you guys 2 hours of content, go get in line at 5, 6 in the morning, listen to the most disgusting, deplorable shit that you can think of for 8 hours, then come home and report. Like, it's a lot. Doesn't mean that I did not make these connections. Does not mean that at all. Shout out to definitely last but not least, James. James is the Essence magazine writer who actually interviewed me. We did a podcast today. I will let you guys know when it dropped. It's a really dope podcast. I'm excited, for you guys to see it. If somebody could drop James' link in the chat, definitely subscribe. James also found out what I was going through and checked on me on a personal level. That don't have anything to do with business. Literally, just small things, and they're not the only ones. Of course, there were so many other people. Dara, I think she works for ABC. There's a lot of people. Of course, you guys know I got cool with Armand. So many people. That's the positive stuff. There were so many positive meetings and interactions that I had. It wasn't all just BS. It definitely wasn't all just BS. And these are like on the personal level. But let's see. I wanted to talk about a few things because it was kind of like the perfect storm. Do y'all want to start with the line situation, like what it felt to actually be out there? Do you want to start with new media versus legacy media? Where do y'all want to start? Because it was a lot. I low key, actually, let me share James's link myself. I'll so that I could link it in the chat. So let me see. How do I will figure out how to share this particular link, and let's see. I don't know if he's putting up the podcast on his YouTube or if that's going to be on Instagram. I don't know how he's doing it, but I'm definitely going to let you guys know. Let's see. Elizabeth from Law and Crime, really dope. Conversations on the side with Tisa, multiple conversations with both queens, Queen Sheba, Queen I hate when I mispronounce her. I hate when I mispronounce her name. So I don't want to mispronounce her name, but what's her name? Queen Emma. I don't want to mispronounce her name. Let me see. YouTube Queen. But I just called her Queen, so I don't. Amadusa. Is that right? Queen Amad. I just used to say queen, but shout out to her. Really enjoyed her. So many other content creators. Now, let's get into what it was like literally showing up to court every day. That first week, everybody was kind of treated the same. Nobody really knew who was going to get in there. The level of nastiness and cattiness, like I'm not accustomed to this. In corporate America, you get into the meetings that you want. But now I understand just how hard it is for news people. You have the traditional news media, like the large platforms like CNN, ABC. Some of those people hired line sitters. But for the independent journalists, it's disgusting the way that they're treated. You would be surprised the number of platforms that have the money, major magazines. They don't pay for these people to get line sitters, but the expectation is that you get into that room. See, I have y'all. I don't have to do all the fussing and fighting and stuff like that. I'm very blessed in what I have because it's not required that I do anything like that. If I want to get in, I'm going to hire a line sitter. But for everybody who couldn't hire a line sitter, I get it. I see you. I saw all of this shit. I saw multiple people allowing multiple people in front of them in line. So you had case in point, an independent journalist that writes for, I don't want to put out where she actually writes. So I'll just say she writes for somewhere in Florida, a major publication that's out of Florida or out of LA, something like that. Spent her own money to get a line sitter. And now the people at the front of the line have allowed 4 people who did not pay to get in. That's where it started. That's where the perfect storm started. None of us knew that there was going to be multiple overflow rooms. Initially, I believe, I don't know, I think it might have been Armand who had reported that in the overflow rooms, there was not even a television. So nobody technically really wanted to go in there. Yes, multiple people. I saw this shit with my own eyes. The reason it didn't impact me is because technically I didn't like to get into the courtroom too often. The straight shooters make it extremely hard on me because y'all want to know everything. You want to know what so-and-so is wearing, if their wig is shifted, if somebody farted, who was looking at who. So it makes it extremely hard. Plus I can see a better shot of Diddy when I'm in an overflow. But I did it. I paid when you guys really wanted me to be in there. But outside of that, I didn't have to be in there. They were very strict rules. And let me tell you another thing. When we're talking about a situation where people feel like certain people are treated better than, that is absolutely the case. That is absolutely the case. New media and the public are treated very differently than legacy media. Now, that might be because some of these latest legacy media people are in these same courtrooms. You develop a rapport, but some of it is just about the way that you look. And we're not going to go through a life isn't fair kind of stuff. We're not doing all that on this platform tonight. We got way too much to get through for that. We have like way too much to get through for that. But I will tell you that, yes, differences were made, but no different than, say, some of the unfair things and unfair advantages that people get in life. A lot of times, if you have money, you have an advantage. If you have looks, you have an advantage. If you're dressed a certain way, you have an advantage. If you have a title, you have an advantage. Is that supposed to be the way it works in a court of law? No. But I'm here to tell you that certain people did have advantages. And I would be remiss if I did not say this. For anybody who might be mad, if you had that advantage, you would probably sit down and be quiet and take it as well. So we can't hate on somebody who had an advantage or an advantage was given, because if you had it, you would enjoy it too. It just is what it is. But yes, I can tell you I sat with both legacy media and I sat with the public. And not all bailiffs. I like some of them. A couple found my channel. Did I get a hug from a bailiff? One lady was really, really nice. I really liked her. But one dude was an asshole. He was definitely an asshole. And he was not an asshole to the blonde-haired, blue-eyed reporter who would talk to him. Like, we're not supposed to talk in court. They would shoo with him and all this kind of shit. And it happened. This happened. This is the reality of some shit. There are biases. There are differences made. And that all adds to it's just a contentious environment. But not for all. I'm not going to lie. For me, I don't know. Maybe because I don't act the fool. Maybe some of it is I'm more palatable. I told you a lot. I made a lot of great connections. I had a lot of great experiences with legacy media, but you'll probably hear people talk about some of the negative ones. And I'm not going to lie. There were members of legacy media who definitely looked down on new media. It just is what it is. And I don't really consider anybody my competition. But if you are a very educated, tenured journalist, and now there is a status quo. Typically there is a hierarchy. We all saw the hierarchy when Sunny came in. Sunny looks great. I don't know what age bracket she's in, but she carries herself extremely well. Sunny is like a force. Side note. Yes, there are some from the legacy media group who feel like, what the hell is new media? And why are you here? And why am I Sunny Hostin from The View? Hold on, let me see. Somebody has to. Oh, yeah. I respect everybody until you don't respect me. Basically, I don't care. Maybe I don't think like the atypical person. I don't really care what your, subscriber count is like. I don't really care what your views are. You're not putting money in my pocket. I wanted to talk to everybody. The people who were there for the trial, the people who were there because they were trying to start a channel. There were so many people who came up and asked me advice on what to do. I'll talk to anybody. That kind of stuff doesn't really. That's the way it should be. There were so many straight shooters who came up to me. You either got like a hug, a handshake. We took a couple moments to talk about the case, who you were. It was what it is. I mean, it is what it is. But back to the line situation. So the first week, it was raining. It was cold. You had to get there super early. And we didn't really know how things were going to turn out, how long we had to stay. I think we were staying there till like 5 p.m. and then coming back and having to put on a show. And if you're in legacy media, you're either turning in your story or you're going live right away. If you are a content creator, then you are going back to your room, or, I think Tisa might have been going live every day at the courthouse. Whatever you were doing, that's draining as hell. But that was the life that we were living for these 2 months. Week 2 got a little bit easier, but there was still points of contention. I'm not going to say the line sitter situation is fair. If you are not made of money and haven't allocated funds to do this, and you still want to cover the trial and give your subscribers or your fan base or whatever you call it your best, I get it. And I can understand why people would be upset. That being said, I was upset when people skip. I'm the kind of person where it's like, get it how you live until it impacts me. Until it impacts me. I am not going to lie to you and tell you that people at the front of these lines who hired line sitters were not letting multiple people in. Eventually, somebody from the legacy media started like taking names specifically for legacy media, but that didn't necessarily apply to the public space. On to the way that the public media relations team handled it. They absolutely created this issue at the end of the court case where all of these people were always upset and arguing and fighting. The story goes, one day they just decided, because they made these rules up as they went along, one day they just decided that if you were there at a certain time, at a certain point in line for that one particular day, you got on a list for the rest of the trial, and that was just it. You were on the list, which meant that that took up quite a few spots from the legacy media side for reporters. So any of these independent reporters were basically screwed because a lot of those were the people that were there every day. And shout out to them for getting it. But they also gave 3 people from the public side that same, they gave 3 people from the public side a permanent spot on the list for the rest of the trial. So when you hear about arguments and fights, it's because legacy media got 21 seats every day. I think initially they gave up 18 of those seats to people who were in the line that moment, or they had seen in line and knew that they were there every day. Did not realize that that's the way it works, but that's the way it worked for the end of this trial. Giving 3 seats of the public to 3 people meant that now of those 14 seats, now only 11 people from the public could get in. Tell me that this line situation was not exacerbated by the courts, like the public relations team. So now you want to know, was there favoritism shown? Yes. Yes, there was. I'm not going to speak to the specific, but yes, there was favoritism shown on that list at the end. I'm not even gonna like hold you. Yes. And I know for a fact some of the favoritism that was shown. For anybody who's mad about it, if it were you, would you say anything? And the answer is no. You would sit your ass down, quiet, on that church bench and take your notes so that you could work. It just that's just what it was. I don't know how else to like swing it. Yes. But shout out to some of the legacy media who tried to get me on that list. I just wasn't as concerned. I was fine in the overflow room. And when I wanted to be in the courthouse, I was blessed enough to have you guys and blessed enough that I could just hire a line sitter. And that's just what it is. So I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you that I wasn't embraced by a lot of the legacy media. They were really kind to me. Shout out to you guys for wanting me to take some of these people up on offers, even when I'm not. Sometimes I didn't want to get out of bed. That is the God's honest truth. Sometimes when you're telling people what's going on with you, they have so much of a belief in you. I was at my limit daily. When you have somebody like Laura Coates who's taking your information, do you understand? If you don't know, she works for CNN. That is such a humbling experience. I'm not a journalist. I have a lot of respect for legacy media because they put in the work. I have a lot of respect for the content creators who put in the work and don't lie. Shout out to Armand and Tisa for killing the game. I've never like I will always uplift other content creators and now legacy media and all of that. Shout out to all of the people who put in the work. But just because you have a large subscribership does not mean that you put in the work any more than some of these content creators who are just starting. Shout out to them as well. I gave everybody the same professional courtesy, all but one. All but one person got that. And the craziest part, I'm not going to name their name because they have since like apologized, but let me set the scene. We're talking about the line. Saturday, I'm home. I go visit my sister. I go visit my sister. Saturday night, I go and talk to my friend who's in a coma. Sunday morning, I'm back in New York, and I get a call that my friend has passed away. Like, this is somebody who literally was telling me before I had a channel, you know so much about this like stupid shit. Put it out there. Do a podcast. Like, like all of this stuff that don't even make sense. Why do you know that? Do a podcast. Help me come up with the name. Somebody that means a lot to me. That was Sunday morning. I had no time to process that I just lost one of my like best friends, somebody I talk to daily. And now I get to this courthouse and I'm like, shit, I got here too early. Now I have to get in line, which means I have to speak to everybody. I like these people, but I don't want to be here. So I'm speaking to everybody. I'm speaking to infamous Sylvia. Shout out to her for helping me get my New York City press pass. Like, so many people, if I forget them, chalk it up to my head, not my heart. But now I'm speaking to everybody, and every effing body is in line. And now I have to talk to everybody. And but like I'm just not doing well. Before I could get to the second person just saying good morning, somebody comes up to me and they're like, white people told me that you skipped the line. Some bullshit. And I just didn't have it in me that morning. There was like a little bit of a back and forth, nothing like aggressive or anything like that. A little bit of a back and forth. And really, what the fuck is that? Where does that even happen? It didn't mean anything. They're not the antagonist in my story. It was weird. It was unnecessary. And it was the wrong moment. And the crazy part was I give everybody from 1 million subscribers to you're just starting your channel the exact same response. It just wasn't, I didn't have it in me. Like I didn't have it in me. I saw Naked Night that same day. Went up and gave the same professional courtesy that I had done to everybody else. Later on, I can't remember what happened. Somehow I think they apologized. And from that point on, we did exchange hellos and stuff like that. There's still no beef there, but it was just unnecessary. But I want you guys to get in the mindset of this is real people's lives, real shit that they're going through, real work that they have to do. Nobody really wants to put up with like bullshit. How's New York treating you? I'm ready to go home. Yeah, somebody said put a name on. It's not necessary because now they apologized. now things are copacetic. We'll speak when we see each other. There was no beef to begin with. It just was like a moment that I just really wasn't willing to have because what is that? I just lost my best friend. I don't really care. Like I don't really care. I had a moment with somebody from Legacy Media, and I disengaged. I was like, I don't care. In the day, I don't care. So it was a mixed bag. But if you hear things like favoritism was shown, maybe. I can't say that things have not come easy for me at times. I can't say that things don't come hard for me at times. It just is, it's the nature of the beast. This was annoying. One thing that you guys don't know about Legacy Media is they're real people. They just can't report like that. One thing that I love about them that I don't have is an ability to not take the story personally. So somebody asked, why was it so important that I give you guys an unbiased opinion when I don't like Diddy? Part of that is because I don't want you guys thinking that the prosecution did such a great job and that at the end of this, Diddy's going to be behind bars. I knew that there was a pretty big chance based on how well the defense did that Diddy might even get acquitted. So it was important for me to tell you guys that. It was definitely like important for me to share with you what actually went on. It just is what it is. So the jockeying for positions. I know for a fact that a lot of people from, I had so many off the record conversations, but a reporter's job is to report the story. They don't want to be the story, but they also have to work to get the story. So after everything ended, there was a lot of people who had to like shake hands and stuff like that with the family. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that shit. Let me tell you. So I'm in the courtroom one day. If I tell you that a content creator puts their hands up and tells me, wait, the mom needs to get on the elevator. Here's my thing. If you don't give a shit about any other older woman that's in that courtroom that's trying to get on the elevator, I don't give Ms. Combs any more respect than I would give another woman of her age respect. This content creator was about to get cursed the fuck out. I was boiling that this mofo put their hands on me to tell me to let Diddy's family get in the elevator. So as they did that, I allowed Mama Combs to get on the elevator because I am very respectful of older women. But I moved his hand or moved him for the rest of the family that was trying to get on the elevator. You have me all the way fucked up. Don't think because I'm a nice guy that Louisiana won't come out. That kind of stuff, you know, people coming up to me with small bullshit, that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, like I said. But to physically stop me to allow Diddy's family to get on the elevator was a problem. There was so many times that people jockeyed for positions, and I get it. After this court case, I'm good. But if you need to interview these people and you need to have a rapport or a relationship, perfect. And the dude was actually a nice guy. He actually is a super, super nice guy. But in that moment, if he would have known what I was actually thinking, it probably would have got bad. Don't ever in your life tell me. That would be like if I buy a section and you try to move me out of the section that I bought because I don't know, King Combs came and bought a section or wanted, like, it doesn't work like that. It definitely doesn't work like that. I don't like that shit. This is why I did not show up to the trial. at a certain point. My chest was hurting, but I didn't really want to witness this. The slow one dancing. This is outside the courtroom, dancing. This is the most ignorant bullshit that I have seen in my life. I wanted no parts of it. All of the chanting, free Diddy. I respect all of you guys who love Diddy. I talk to you guys. I allow you in my chat. Perfect. I love it. This ignorant mother, I was not about to sit and watch him dance and do a victory lap towards the end. That being said, you have heard me say how much I, am even like, I would never fix my face to talk to his daughters because I feel bad for the daughters. I have a certain level of respect for people who might be part of a family with somebody who I don't like. Now, I call him the slow one, but I was always very respectful to, Big Kim, Mama Janice. But I'm not trying to sit and watch a victory lap. That's just not my thing. And I'm not a real journalist, so I don't have to do that. If you guys could understand what all of us who were at that trial went through every day with the jockeying for positions, it was insane. For every good person that I met, like Laura Coates was a highlight. Like to get to that level at CNN and even see anything in me, that is like extremely humbling. But in the next breath, you got somebody talking about you should stay with domestic violence. It's like with that antiquated mindset that your mama was real because your daddy beat her and she stayed. I don't know what to do with that. I'm telling you, this trial was a mind. It really was a mind. You would have to be there to really experience it. And I'm one of the respectful ones. Let me give y'all a little bit of a treat. This, mind you, is not Pearl. This is not Pearl. This is a content creator. If I had her name, I would definitely give it to you guys. This was a pretty good indication of what Pearl was giving throughout the trial. I kid you not. I don't know who this woman is, but I already love her just solely based on her what the F face. This is the best embodiment of what Pearl was given throughout the trial. I don't know who this lady is, but I love her. I'm telling you guys. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I even if you support Diddy, I had so many conversations because at the end of the day, we're not on the jury. But it's good to know how people sitting in the courtroom felt. And for the most part, everybody was pretty respectful with me because I was respectful with them. You could be my subscriber and still F with Diddy, and that's your business. I try not to tell you guys. Well, no, you never heard me say I'm telling you guys how to feel. Not in my chat. But yeah, this was the best embodiment that I could give a Pearl. That was the face that Pearl was making as they made that woman watch freak off tapes and everything else. It was I don't think I'm ever. Who's Pearl? Pearl is my favorite juror. Pearl was my favorite juror. She was just over it from the very, very beginning. And before we end, we're definitely going to talk about the one who I told you guys I felt like he was Mr. Bean. He's the one that did the interview. Let's get into some of like the real stuff. Another thing about King. When I talk about victory laps, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. When he said, knock them walls down like when the Fetty boys ran in, both of our cribs. Too bad they ain't know we bought the one next door because that's the one that they missed. That's a victory lap to me. That's I got stuff to hide, but you went to the wrong house. That's what that's about. That's what that's about. I wish I could remember. There's a reporter, super dope. She did me a solid. I wish I could remember her name. Like, she did me a for real solid. So I will highlight her on my next video. I really wanna highlight her. She hooked me up. Like I said, I was embraced by so many. I cannot tell you that it was all a negative experience because it was a once in a lifetime experience. But you guys asked me in my DMs about some of the bullshit, and there was bullshit. And I would be lying if I didn't tell you that there was. Tomorrow, look out for a video. It's going to be just like a short thing on my Instagram. When people ask me about Diddy, specifically, why don't I like Diddy? I don't like any nigga that puts their hands on women. But that doesn't mean that I look down on other people for the ones that do like him. I don't tell you guys how to feel about liking him. And I gave what I thought was the best unbiased daily reporting that I could give you on who did better, defense or prosecution. And anytime I'm going to do a court case, I'm going to do my best to give you like the most unbiased opinion. But you want to know how I feel about a victory lap? Diddy put out this song after the shootout with Natanya. And it said, where is it? Shootouts, coastal beefs, yeah, Diddy did it. But my lawyer's so good that Diddy got acquitted. He was acquitted for the shooting of Natanya that left a bullet in her face permanently. So if you want to ask me about why I don't F with Diddy and the victory laps people take, I don't care if you're I could give up if you're a celebrity. Just because you're a celebrity does not mean that you get Mariah shouldn't be able to pee because she's in front of you, because she needs to pee. She's watching a concert and they close off the bathroom so that you can't pee. Or King Combs can't go pee and be in front of or skip the line in front of you because he's King Combs. That doesn't make sense. You'll see. It's a short video. It's a short video, but that's what I don't get with. And I don't get with celebrities who think they're better or they're above the law because they can buy the best attorneys. That being said, I was very upfront with you guys from the beginning. Some of those charges, I said, were going to be an uphill battle to try to prove. I said that. I meant that. It is what it is. I know that the system is not necessarily designed to benefit people that look like me. That being said, Diddy's a monster. And I do believe some of the shit that went on, like the merits of the case are what we have to discuss. It's not just a sexual case. The defense did extremely well convincing the media that it was solely about sex. That's not the case. Any of you guys, if your boss shows up to your house with a weapon and says, come on, we're gone, that's kidnapping. If you beat somebody bloody and then say, I'm going to pay you to get that tape so that that never comes out, that's bribery. But the defense did a phenomenal job of saying things like six-pack of white women going after a black man. They just want the black man to go down. As a black man, I'm not going to sit there and blow smoke up your ass and say that I feel safe in all these spaces or I necessarily feel safe all the time around cops. I don't. That's just not the reality of some shit. But was Diddy a gangster? Yes. Did they create reasonable doubt in the prosecution's attempt to take him down? Yes. And I could not blow smoke up your ass. I had a conversation with a survivor who said that my take on this case made them nervous. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you because that's actually what happened. The defense created the reasonable doubt that they needed in some of these situations. I don't know where else to go with that. But do I think that Diddy was guilty of being a gangster? Sure. Do I wish the charges were laid out differently so it wasn't just so much about sex? Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know. I don't even think we have time to really go into the shit. There was so much other stuff we were supposed to talk about. Damn it. I was on this content creator's channel today, and Celebrity Scandalous and AT2, and Celebrity Scandalous was talking about how she, let me see if I can just pull that up real quick. Did I drop? Let me actually do James' link. I did not do James's link. James R. Sanders. View channel. Okay, so I'm going to drop the link again. James is the writer for Essence. I did a podcast with him today. I'm going to let you guys know when it drops, but you could definitely subscribe to him now. Okay, so that is pinned in the chat. I think what I'll do is let's go to AT2's channel so you guys can hear the conversation that we had, because I think it was actually pretty important. We might review Mr. Bean's stuff tomorrow. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. So actually, we're going to take that off. I'm going to share this. Damn it, I wanted to fit all this in today, but that's not going to happen. That's okay. Trafficking doesn't mean that the concept didn't exist. It just meant that for the general public, they wouldn't understand that this sex worker could be trafficked. They would just think that's just a hoe. Yeah. Why is a hoe trying to sue? When in actuality, hold on, here we go. The jurors only had sex if he paid for it because he would need to be tried.
One, and they had the barricade around her.
Talk about the fact that we need to be, you need to just call the police. It doesn't work. It's just not that simple. There are things that aren't just black and white. There are things that aren't just nuanced. But you're asking people who are normal, everyday people who, you know, maybe they've only had sex a couple times in their life. Maybe one of the jurors only had sex if he paid for it because he was unattractive and broke. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different nuances to life, and it's not just cut and dry. I think that it's very easy culturally for us to look at the Cassies of the world and say she's beautiful. She was already making $400,000. She chose to look at these text messages, but they would have had to have listened to the psychiatrist explain exactly what some of these behaviors are, and they didn't.
But do you
And
think that the prosecution probably didn't explain that well
failed.
enough?
The prosecution
Okay.
failed. The prosecution failed in the same way that Democrats fail. So
Yes.
I've been very adamant. You have to like fight fire with fire. If the Democrats win because they, you know, send somebody out there that's new and flashy and is going to effectuate change, like they said that Obama was going to do, well, the pendulum swung with Trump, and he was even more flashy. You're not going to go back to a traditional Democrat and think that that's going to fly in 2025. You can see just how legacy media is suffering to content creators. Like, you have to move and change with the times. It doesn't mean that they're going to need a Democrat that is the equivalent of Trump, but you're going to need to appeal to a base that is different than what legacy media might present. So it's so many things. But to expect a group of 12 people, I think one was like a massage therapist, another worked at a deli, and now you have Diddy, somebody you never expected to see, somebody you might have even paid to see at a book signing or a CD signing back in 2004. There's no way that woman with a French roll was going to vote to put that man in jail for life. So you would have needed to change the charges. 50 years minimum for RICO. You would have needed to change the charges.
And I agree with that. And I'm going to say this, MIMS, because I was a legal secretary, because I am from the Bay Area where we have trafficking alerts, and because I dated a sheriff from Oakland whose brother was a pimp, and I've sat with working girls for years because, you know, they were like friends. His brother was a PIMP. My perspective is going to be biased. So I'm not going to look at Cassie in the traditional sense that I see trafficking in those things. So I would have been removed. I would not have been a good juror for that.
Right there. This is somebody who was in the courtroom, and she was saying, I would not have been a good juror for this because I already have a mindset on what trafficking looks like. I'm sure those were brilliant legal minds, the quote unquote six-pack of white women. But some of this was cultural. I almost feel like the same way Diddy had a team of, you know, majority white people. He pulled in a brilliant legal mind, Nicole, but then also put the word out. I told you guys, he put the word out that he just needed a black man on the trial. Some of this was cultural. So it would have been good to have somebody who could address cultural things with the jury and meet them there. There is no part of me that does not believe that this non-sequestered jury was seeing some of these things, whether it be on social media, on television. This was the biggest story of, so far, I think, could we say the century almost? This was huge. They needed to connect with these people more so than just, well, this is the law, this is, you know, subsection such and such of this legal journal said this. They needed more. That connection was lost. And because that was not there, the defense was able to drive some of these beliefs. Like, it was so much. They were up against a lot. But listen, this is somebody who was in the courtroom and said that she even acknowledged that she has a certain sense on what sex trafficking looked like, and she would not have been the best juror for this. Shout out to her. She was in there, I know, at least the first few weeks, and I think towards the end as well.
That's because of how I've grown up.
50 years.
Yeah, we have trafficking.
Was going to vote to put that man in jail for life. So you would have needed to change the charges. 50 years minimum for RICO.
Brother was a PIMP. My perspective is going to be biased. So I'm not going to look at Cassie in the traditional sense that I see trafficking in those things. So I would have been removed. I would not have been a good juror for that. That's because of how I've grown up. That's because of my affiliations. So for me, I would not have been an objective juror, but I'm not going to lie about it. I'm being honest.
Let me challenge you here, right? So at some point you said you dated like a cop or something?
He was a sheriff.
You dated a sheriff, right? And they explained to you how, I mean, children being trafficked is a very easy concept to get, right? But
wait, who explained to me? He didn't explain anything to me. Who are you saying?
So who explained trafficking to you? Because you mentioned cops, so I assume that.
I don't know if AT2 is familiar, but we have a trafficking task force, and so they come on and they give information, and there's just like little excerpts on the news where they talk about it. It's pretty big because it happens frequently where we're from.
What age? I mean, I'm not asking you how old you are. I'm saying around how long ago did you become aware of it?
Oh, I would say probably maybe a decade or so ago. IT2, could you chime in on that? I'm going to say
Well,
it's
hold on,
pretty
just
prevalent.
real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
So about 10 years ago, so 2010s is when you became aware of really and informed on what trafficking was, right?
Yes.
So let me challenge you here. Imagine somebody in 1995 had a court case with a woman who was a sex worker who was suing somebody for trafficking. Doesn't mean that the concept didn't exist. It just meant that for the general public, they wouldn't understand that the sex worker could be trafficked. They would just think that's just a hoe.
Yeah.
Why is a hoe trying to sue? When in actuality, it would be the work of a prosecution team to come in and say, let me explain to you how this quote unquote hoe got into the business. This hoe got into the business because at 16, she thought she was dating somebody. And one day that man drugged her up and moved her to another state and had 8 to 10 people sleeping with her per day till she got accustomed to thinking that that was her life. Like, so the prosecution was up against something very hard because you're trying to explain the concept of trafficking to people who think that they have knowledge of everything that trafficking entails.
But I look at the
it was like 6 white women who got it 6 months ago when technically it was like a black man who.
So I asked AT2 if I could use that clip. They were up against a lot, and they're also culturally, and you guys can say what you want in the chat. I've had so many off the record conversations with people who were like, Cassie wasn't a black woman. I don't care. That's the reality. Like, there's so many different layers to this. And another thing that I found out specifically during this case was that a lot of people on both sides take their own experiences and have applied them to Diddy and have applied them to Cassie and Jane. So if you are a person who has been impacted by some type of sexual assault, you leaned in that direction. If you have been wronged by a woman, the worst thing that I continue to hear is they lived a good life, so that must be what they wanted. Nobody wants to get their ass whipped, but a lot of people took their own personal experiences and applied them to this case, and that's why it was the perfect storm for the contention that we saw daily at the courthouse. This was a hell of a case. This was a hell of a case. I'm mad that we haven't gotten into so much of the, like, we haven't even touched the surface on what we're supposed to be talking about today. Sandy, nothing more to say. Mahalo. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Paula Keys, we rolling with you. Prayers to you and your family and friends. Thank you. Stephanie, I love how neutral but real you are, especially while you were going through. I would love a panel with 4 of you as a follow-up. I could maybe try to make that happen. That girl Henny, condolences to you, MIMS. Prayers to you. Thank you for being kind. It was awesome meeting you. You as well. T, God works in mysterious ways, MIMS. Everything happens for a reason. So happy for you. Still praying for you and your family. Thank you. Dorian, I have been waiting to hear the BTS. Thank you for the generous super chat. It was a lot of shit. It was a lot of shit every day. Quiana, MIMS, you did an excellent job covering the trial. Thank you. Thank you. East Coast Bernie, way to keep it classy, MIMS. Thank you. Santasha, who was the dude going off on Tisa regarding the results? Ratchet TV, I think his name is. I never met him. But I saw him on the last day, and I feel like maybe I saw him earlier. I don't really know him, but from what I hear, I guess there is like some friction between him and Tisa. I don't know the ins and outs, like, but I don't know the ins and outs of all that. But I think his name is Ratchet TV. Certain people I didn't even get a chance to meet. Like, I give everybody professional courtesy, but some people I just didn't. Our paths didn't technically really cross. Let's see. Worry about yourself. Hey, MIMS, y'all hit the like. It's a free way. Yeah, I don't know where we are on likes, but definitely hit that like button and Definitely hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Caribbean Gal. So the Essence Mag for recognizing the rule, and I'm so proud of you. Yeah, shout out to James. James definitely reached out and was nice enough to put us at Essence. Just and even in this interview today, it's a really good podcast. So I can't wait till he lets me know that it drops. So if you haven't subscribed to James, definitely subscribe to James. Miss Carmen, Tisa Tell said that she put in the required paperwork to be listed as new media press. It wasn't pretty privilege. Who said it was pretty privilege? Are you responding to somebody in the chat? I don't know. Maybe you are. You're not responding to me. Let me tell you about Tisa. That girl worked her ass off. I don't know if in this 2 months, Tisa ever took a lunch. I do not know if Tisa Tells ever even took a lunch. She busted her ass. Tisa and I had like a few like off the record conversations. We sat together one day at the court case. Sometimes I do think Tisa gets a bad rap because Tisa is pro-victim. I don't per se see a problem with that. If I'm never really going to see a problem with somebody who's pro-victim. Maybe that makes me biased as well. I don't know. But if anybody were to tell you that that girl did not put in the work to get where she is, then they need to have a conversation with themselves. I don't know if she ever even took a lunch. Dear Dana, hey Mims, have you seen the Ali Carter recent videos? You have done an excellent job. Love and prayers to you. Deeply sorry about your friend. Thank you. Dear Dana, I haven't seen you in forever. Dana was like literally one of the, like around when I started my channel. No, I haven't seen anything about Ali Carter in a while, to be honest with you. Thank you for the super chat. Sharjan Mims, I'm still honored that you wanted me to start out with you. I wish I could have done it. I'm so proud of you. I always like, I have so many conversations with people where I'm just like, do it. I'm not one of these content creators who feels like somebody might come up later and surpass. No. Nice seeing you, Shaw. Granny the Great. Thank you for the super sticker. Right. Guard your peace at all times. Don't engage with the foolishness. Thank you for that. Beverly Lee Creates. Hey, Mims. Thank you for the super chat. Julian, Mims, we love you and appreciate all you did and do for us with this trial. You definitely took one for the team. We are truly blessed to have you. Thank you. And thank you for being a member for 20 months. Jackie Bard. Thank you for the super sticker. Carla. Thank you for joining the membership. And thank you for gifting 10 memberships. So if you got a membership, definitely thank Carla. Me nor Carla decide who gets it. YouTube does. So definitely thank her. Basic Black says, Mims, you did us proud. Congrats to you on the phenomenal job you did day in and day out. Shooters, smash the like button. Yeah, if you haven't, you in here and you haven't, go ahead and do that. Tim, are you Mims the rapper? No, no. Mims stands for me for Make It Make Sense. No, the rapper is the original. There can only be one Mims the rapper. Coco, they needed DEI, attorneys that could connect to the jury. The six-pack was trying the case, but by the look and the jury were bored and uninterested, which is technically, Coco, that wasn't even fair to alleged victims if you slept through that. That was crazy to see jurors sleeping through that. They had an uphill battle. I'm not going to sit here and just bash the prosecution. I do think that Comey being the lead should have taken more of a lead and not just passed out a bunch of notes when she didn't like something. But I think Comey should have done the closing arguments as well. Miss Carmen, yes, I was responding to something said, oh, okay. I was like, I I've never said anything about TT. Tisa works. That girl has a battery. Yeah, she definitely she put in the work. The Pitbull Mom. Thank you so much. If you got a membership from the Pitbull Mom, definitely say thank you. Anything but the norm. The only reason Puff is getting away with this is because he's only doing this to the Black community. If it was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed individual, it would be totally different. Look at OJ. I really do feel like celebrity played a part. The severity of the charges played a part. I talked to so many prosecutors who were like, they did not think that they would be able to pull off the RICO. A lot thought that they were getting acquitted. And these are people that are impartial. So many people just wanted to sit in the case because you had heavy hitters. Even the judge enjoyed the back and forth between Comey and let me see if I took a picture of this so you guys can get a sense of what I was talking about. I saw a video of some of the fighting in the lines. I want you guys to see it wasn't just what I'm telling you. It was a crazy situation. Let me see. Did I screenshot it? There was so much I wanted to talk to you guys about. Okay, yeah, I found it. Let me show you guys, because I think y'all think sometimes I just be making this shit up. It was tense every day. I had my own tense situation. But for the most part, everybody was pretty respectful of me because I was respectful of them. But, okay, let me see. Okay, so this particular situation was literally one of Trump's bodyguards who's pro-victim, who came out to support, crap, let me see. How do I get it so that you could see? Okay, so share this tab.
Oh, shit. Is it not like us? Let's make a racism! Let's go white against black! Let's fucking go! There it is! We got a racist! We got a racist!
Imagine you just wake up, roll out of bed, go to court, and this is what you're next to.
For what? For what? You want to shut up for a second? Yeah, I'll listen right that way. I'm a fan of women that are getting abused. Hold on. Don't talk. I'm not talking for Greg. I'm a fan of women that are in domestic violent relationships. Exactly. I'm a fan of a man that shouldn't hit their women. Yeah. I'm a fan hold on. Don't talk. Don't talk because you are so uneducated about what this is. You're absolutely right. Don't talk. You're absolutely right. You should have been over there, not over here. Not over here.
The white guy is actually part of Trump's security detail, security team, but you literally would have to be there to understand when I tell you that this was what we were experiencing daily. New media, legacy media, just normal people, the unhoused in New York, the Diddy supporters who were mad, angry, fights between people in the unhoused. Like the first day the police were called and people were arrested because some of the unhoused people who were line sitters were physically fighting. There was a fight that broke out over somebody stealing somebody else's crack. I kid you not. This is what we were dealing with daily. So if you're a person who protects your peace, that's out of the door, because you're going to have people in your face. You're going to have people who don't like what you're doing. You're going to have people who don't like what you're saying. I can't tell you the name of the actual huge reporter who pulled me to the side because they had just cried based on an encounter that they had just had with people in the line. Like, shit, I needed a minute after I got encircled. The shit was insane.
We all want to know what you're talking about. Do you want to hear from the uneducated? Like a man is okay for better women? Or do you want to hear about my platform?
So we don't want to hear from uneducated.
Weinstein. Domestic violence is wrong. Denounce it. Denounce it. Denounce it. I denounce domestic violence. I denounce domestic violence. You think you're women abuser? Okay. Yes, she is. According to the evidence. Is he going to prison? Is he going to prison? He's a felon. Is he going to prison? Is he going to prison? I don't know. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's checked up. Is she like it? I'm not dead. She liked it. She loves it.
That's Mama Flip. She's reporter today.
Hold on. I got a question. What's up, man? Have you ever been so in love?
Okay, that just gives you an idea. Right over here, if you look to the left, you'll see a bald guy. That's Justin from the Shade Room. Oh, Mama Flip was here. Mama Flip must have been hiding in the chat. Thank you for the super chat. She says, hi, I am here, and I was there. So you can tell them exactly what it was like, especially if you're like an introvert and this is what you're experiencing day in and day out. And you got to hear 8 hours of testimony about big black dick and soreness and UTIs and guns and violence. And it was a lot. Where were Dina says, happy that you made it through. Stay away from the baby oil. I don't ever have to hear baby oil again in my life. Mai Tai says, Mims, you did an excellent job. Did you see interview the escort Dave? If so, what were your thoughts? I've seen a lot of the interviews. I'm less concerned about what they're saying now and more concerned about why the prosecution allowed everybody to call them entertainers. If sex work was happening, how have you not gone after cowboys and angels? And I'm a sex positive person. If you're an adult and you're doing what an adult does and everybody is consenting, go for it. I really don't care. I really don't care. I can't say that enough. But if you sit in my MFing face and say you're not a sex worker in one breath, and then in the next breath, you say, well, if I didn't nut so that Cassie and Diddy could play with it, then I didn't get paid, then that tells me you were paid for your baby batter. You were not being paid for your intellectual discourse on war and crime. I don't know. You're not getting paid to go on a diatribe about the economy and how it can be improved. You're being paid because you have a BBD and the ability to produce baby batter that can be rubbed on his nipples. You are a sex worker. And why the prosecution waited till the closing statements to say that, I don't understand. So again, I could not come out here and tell you guys that I believed everything that was being said. I mean, everything that was being said, like, I could not come out here and tell you guys that the prosecution was just doing the best bang up job and to keep your hopes up, because they weren't. And I have lots of questions. I have lots of questions. But for the escorts or sex workers who don't believe that you're an escort, then what the hell is that? If you didn't get paid unless you could produce baby batter. What is that? That is more than being paid for your time. And if you're a sex worker, you're a sex worker. I have so many questions. I need Dimitri to hurry up so we can like talk, but that didn't make sense to me. That's simple. When Jane, who was the worst, when Jane was giving her testimony and she kept calling all of the escorts entertainers, I was like, what the hell is that? Yeah. So Mai Tai, yeah, I'm less concerned about that and why they didn't have to acknowledge what jobs they have. Donna, didn't they come for BJ too? Thank you so much for telling the unbiased truth in spite of the drama. Praying for you. Thank you. I think BJ is gonna tell her own story any day now. She did tell me that she had some stuff going in line, but I wasn't there for that. I can tell you I had some shit happen in line and I didn't like it, but I would refer to BJ to tell her story because I wasn't there for it. I knew that last day was gonna be some F shit. Miss Abby says, I think that Jane was working for the defense. She played victim and the prosecutor ate it up. It's unfortunate. Continued success to you. Condolence. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Miss Abby, her Jane testimony about being jealous over another woman did not help. She was on the stand for too long. Diddy paid for her lawyer. Complete joke. And Donna said, sad to see what people have devolved to. It was insane. But somebody was it Fifi that said that's normal day in New York and Philly and Chicago? You kind of have to get used to this. Hats off to New Yorkers. Y'all go through a lot of shit. Y'all are around people all the time. For somebody who does not live in New York, I'm very accustomed to leaving my house, exiting my safety zone, exiting my gate, and getting in my car in the AC, driving to my destination, seeing very few people, and returning to my home. In New York, these people are on their grind. They're hustlers. They're in your face. They got a job to do. They got a place to go. And it's just a different lifestyle. It is definitely a different lifestyle. And until you're here and you're here for like 2 months, you would never know. Like New Yorkers go through a lot. They're the first for everything. They're cultured. They've seen a lot. They've seen it all. And then they got to deal with somebody in their face every 2 minutes. Like if you're a New Yorker, you are around the public. It's very different than anywhere else in the United States. It's an experience. Allie Good, thank you. And thank you for both super chats. Dr. Frieda, you had to have a high level of intelligence to connect the dots in this case after sitting through 34 witnesses. The jurors did not relate to the prosecutors or to Cassie. They were disarmed and charmed by the defense. That's it in a nutshell. That's it in a nutshell, honestly. I couldn't put it better. I wish that the prosecution team had somebody who could relate on a different level with the jury and engage them in a different level. I know that Cassie, being as pregnant as she was, they probably would have done things in a different order. Maybe if they could have had Cassie go last, and then if they would have had Gina testify, and Jane was a smaller blip on the map. And I have some questions. I have a lot of questions about all of these people who have civil complaints. If you have a male assistant who has a civil complaint that alleges that Diddy made him have sex with somebody in front of him, why was that person not on the stand? I have so many questions that are unanswered about this case. You're hearing things about the additional charges might be pressed. We have so many civil complaints. This is... This was a lot. I'm gonna have to change this whole thumbnail. I am definitely gonna need to change this thumbnail, and we'll probably have to reconvene on what is his name? Clayton Howard. We'll have to reconvene on Clayton Howard, the chef. Because I didn't think that this would take so long. But again, shout out to the small content creators. If you have a small channel and you took time out every day to show up to the courtroom, to produce your content, and to tell your story to your subscribers, shout out to you, because that's probably, for now, it's a thankless job. But just know you're setting the tone. You're putting in the work. I don't think that they got shouted out as much as they should have. There were a lot of small content creators who were just trying to like do it. Shout out to the straight shooters in the chat. Shout out to the straight shooter. I still don't know her name, but there was like, I think like 4 straight shooters on the row, but one was very direct with me, let me know she was a straight shooter, and that was the conversation that got the attention of Laura from CNN. So shout out to her for taking her time to come see me, spend a minute with me at the courthouse. You never really know what connections you made for me in just that conversation. That's why I'm so thankful to you all. Literally, a straight shooter. Well, I was already like talking to Laura, but I think Laura thought that I was like legacy media and stuff like that. So she just thought she was talking to a colleague. She had no idea I was a content creator. That little interaction with the straight shooter is the reason that CNN is even aware of who I am. That's a big deal, y'all. Like literally mind blowing. And when I'm prepared and ready, who knows? I might say, sure, I'll do it. But information has been exchanged. Give me a minute to breathe. I love that y'all want me to, extend myself. I'm not ready. But when I am ready, y'all will know. Shout out to the straight shooter who waited outside and got me this so I can I think I might put like a X through it and put it up in my clubhouse or deface it, rip it up. She was like, I wanted to get this for you because I know you're going to do something with it. Yeah, y'all showed up, and of course, I was on Mama Flip's channel. I don't remember, maybe a couple of days ago. I lose track of the days now, but shout out to you. Mama Flip is a content creator who is she took her time out. She was there, I believe, every day. She's covering the trial. Shout out to her and so many other ones. Dory, MIMS, you deserve all the positivity coming your way. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hell yeah, I'm gonna deface the hell out of this. I'm gonna do something to it. This was funny. This is something I never would have even gotten. This was a straight shooter being funny, and I appreciate the irreverence. Yeah, so we're gonna have to do that other topic. Yeah, it was at probably like the first 30-40 minutes of this. So definitely check it out. It was at the beginning. Yeah. Y'all, I gotta run. We'll do the other topics maybe tomorrow. But thank y'all for being here with me. Thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to listen to what I had to say. Yeah, but I'm tired, so I'm gonna go. But yeah, thank you. Have a good one.